Discipline and morale may win you some battles, but sieges win the war. In this video, I'll show you an unknown way to make every siege 20% faster as any nation without taking any ideas or additional investments. And all of that is no exploit at all. You just have to use a game mechanic that no one knows why it is so strong. I'm the student and I present you Improved Inland Routes. Now, to understand sieges, you have to first of all understand that sieges is divided into three different parts. The first one is fort defense and siegeability, which is shown in this window over here, and it basically counteracts with each other, so that if I have minus 10% siegeability and they have plus 10% fort defense, then this will be 0, okay? You can see over here this minus 18.3% is basically minus 18.8% added up with plus 0.5% fort defense, okay? And this number directly affects the length of a siege phase, which is the second important part. So you can see that this has a base of 30 days always and is modified by the siegeability of fort defense. In this case, it is modified by minus 18.3%, resulting in 24 days after the calculation. So each siege phase right now takes 24 days instead of 30. After each siege phase, you roll a dice with 14 sides, a 14-sided dice. That one is shown over here with this number over here. The dice roll is then added up with the siege modifiers like leader siege, for example, blockade impact, as you can see over here, or artillery bonus, as you can see right here. So all of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 modifiers, all of them together added up, determine what the siege progress will be. And that's the third thing that you need to know, siege progress. So if I let one siege phase pass over here, then you're going to see that this dice roll will change. There you can see I rolled a 7 right now. And now the siege progress that it did, as shown by this arrow over here, can be seen if you hover over this little image over here of the percentage chance of winning the siege. If you hover over that, you have a detailed list that you can see what effect which numbers have. And as I said, the number that is shown over here is calculated by adding up all of those 7 modifiers together. So we can do this real quick over here. Of course, this one is just came from this siege phase. This was 0 before, so you have to not calculate this if you want to know what the progress was the last siege phase, of course. So if I assume that this was the 0, which it was the last siege phase, that would be 0, 1, 6, and then minus 2, it's 4 again, 0, 0, and then a 7. So 7 plus 4, not calculating this, you're going to see it in a second why. 7 plus 4 is 11. And now if you hover over here, then you can see that 6 to 11, which 11 is in the same range, gives you supplies shortage. And you can see what effect that has over here on the top, that you can see I've got a supplies shortage which affects the siege by +1, the siege status as it's called, and that is this number over here. That is why it went up from 0 to 1, because I gained a siege progress over here, which was the lowest possible thing that could happen, which is supplies shortage, and that gave me 1 siege status. And of course, if I would now let another siege phase pass, then this number is of course added up to all of the other numbers. So you can see this way you actually make progress in the siege. You get a dice roll, you get a progress point over here from supply shortage or from whatever else. That is then shown up here, and that is then calculated on top of the next siege phase, and so on until you win the siege. And you win the siege if all of those modifiers together over here reach 20. So right now you can see there is a 0% chance of winning that siege, because even if I right now rolled a 14 of this 14-sided dice, even then I would have only 1, 2, 7, and then minus 2 is again 5, plus 14 would only be 19, okay? Right now, even if I roll a 14, all of that together would only be 19, and therefore not enough to surrender, for the enemies to surrender, as you can see down there, which I need a 20, and therefore I have right now a 0% chance of winning that siege in the next phase. But the best siege progress is not even shown on that siege results window that you can see right now, because the best result is walls breached. And here is the point where it gets really interesting, because walls breached is completely independent from leader siege or blockade modifiers or obsolete 4 modifiers. All of those modifiers don't matter for the chances of a walls breached. The only thing that matters can be modified by you, which is the artillery bonus. And also I have to mention, if you're really far ahead on force, so you're sieging down force that are 2 levels behind your 4 level, so if you siege a level 2 4 but you can already build level 6 force, which is already way into the late game, then you would get an additional bonus, but it is not that important to mention over here. So we'll just focus on the artillery bonus, because that is what you can actually modify yourself. But let's first of all talk about what walls breached exactly does. You can see right now I have 0 siege progress and over here 0 walls breached over here, which results in minus 14% overall progress, okay? Here you can see I've just got a walls breached over here with a 13 and 5 artillery bonus. We're going to get to the chances of getting that later. But first of all, you can see that 2 things have changed. So I've got 2 base siege progress over here, which is plus 2 now instead of 0. And I've also got plus 1 of this special progress, which is called walls breached. And all together, this means that this walls breached over here that you can see right there gave me a plus 3, so a 21% boost to the siege. You saw that I was on minus 14 before, and now I'm on plus 7, okay? So 21% progress, if you want to see the progress as this percentage number over here, okay? Actually, there is one other siege progress that also gives 3 progress in total, but not over here, 3 over here in total, which is water shortage. But this walls breached is also better, because it also, on top of the plus 3 siege progress, it also gives you the ability to assault. And now let's get to the chances how you can actually get this walls breached. And as I said, it is totally independent from those numbers. That is also why it's not listed in this interface over here. Because the only thing that matters is the dice roll in combination of your artillery bonus, and then of course if you have more than 2 4 levels, then that also. But as I said, we'll focus on the things that you can modify, which is dice roll in combination with artillery bonus, and of course you can modify the artillery bonus. And the formula on the EU4 wiki for that is literally completely wrong, okay? It is completely wrong. So I literally did a scientific-like testing to show you exactly how it works. And for that, I literally took every single bonus of artillery. So I took 0 bonus and saw what was the lowest dice roll that I can get walls breached on, okay? And then I was increasing the artillery bonus to see how the dice roll that I need is changed. And of course, the higher your artillery bonus is, the lower your dice roll needs to be to get a walls breached, okay? But the exact numbers are very interesting, because if you have no artillery or only 1 artillery, which is the same, then you can only get a walls breached if you roll a 14, okay? So nothing else other than a 14 will give you a walls breached. Which means that you have a 7% chance with only artillery bonus 1 or 0 to get a walls breached. And how that goes further is that if you have a 2 or 3 artillery bonus, then you already get a walls breached if you roll a 13 or a 14, okay? Which already doubles the chances, so that you have actually a 14% chance every siege phase to get a walls breached, okay? And if you have 4 or 5 artillery bonus, so 8 to 10 artillery on a level 2-4, then you can already get a walls breached if you roll a 12, 13 or 14, which is a 21% chance per siege progress. And that is how it goes on, okay? So if you have a 6 or 7 artillery bonus, you already get a walls breached at 11, 12, 13 or 14, right? On 8 or 9 artillery bonus, it's a 10 that you need minimum. And on 10 or 11, you need a 9 of a dice roll minimum to get it, okay? And then what I said before, if you have at least 2 4-level bonuses, so if this number is at least 0 over here, then you get this dice roll needed reduced by another 1, okay? So if I needed a 14 before without artillery, and this number would be 0, then I would already get it at 13, okay? And so on. That is literally just a -1 dice roll on every single thing, but it doesn't matter for this video. It's just a side info. But anyways, you notice that the 4 or 5 artillery bonus both require the 12 dice roll at least to get a walls breach. But that also means that if you somehow get a +6 artillery bonus, so just 1 artillery bonus more instead of the base maximum of +5, then you could even get a walls breached if you roll an 11 or higher, okay? So just 1 artillery bonus is worth another 7% chance per siege phase. And now we're getting finally to the part where I can show you how you can get 20% faster sieges everywhere. And that starts with the trading policies. Now, most of the people don't really care about trading policies, but also a lot of people know that there are quite some interesting ones. And there are 5 different in total trading policies in the game, which commonly known is the base one that gives trade power, of course, that is always enacted by default. The second one, that is spy network construction increase for actually building up a faster spy network. The fourth one, that increases improved relation modifiers, which is very great for reducing aggressive expansion modifiers over time. And then the fifth one is also commonly known for Muslim nations mainly, that you can propagate religion and basically create a religious center. But the third one is actually very rarely used and seen, and that is improved inland routes. So you see, it gives you plus 10% siege ability and plus 1 artillery bonus available against force. Okay? The siege ability simply makes your siege phases, and therefore the entire siege, 10% faster, and even more if you stack it onto another siege modifiers that you have, for example from offensive. It literally simply makes your siege 10% faster already, right away, okay? And the extra artillery bonus available against force not only gives you an extra siege progress immediately, so if you were at 0%, then with that bonus it would go up to plus 7% immediately, so you are literally saving an entire siege phase, okay, with that. But as I explained in the previous part of the video, it also gives you an extra 7% chance each siege phase to get a walls breached. So basically plus 3 siege progress and the ability to assault. So let's just calculate that through real quick, okay? If your siege would normally take 10 siege phases, okay? With the base of 30 days, which per phase, which is the base modifier, okay? And you of course had the artillery bonus maximum of plus 5. Then sieges would take you 300 days, okay? So 30 months and 10 phases, 300 days. That's a pretty reasonable example for sieges, okay? They often take around that time. Now in this example, if you had now enacted the improve inland routes trading policy in that trade node that you are sieging in, then on average the same siege would only take 9 phases instead of 10 because of the additional artillery bonus, right? But it also means that each siege phase would be 3 days faster. Instead of 30 days, it would only take 27 days per siege because of the 10% siege ability. And you also have a 7% increased chance to get a walls breached, as I said, in every single one of those 9 phases. Which honestly, that is the hardest one to measure in actual numbers, how much faster that actually makes a siege, but it definitely makes the siege faster on average, okay? That's for sure. But anyways, the 3 days faster siege phases and the +1 extra siege progress to start with already makes the siege only last for 243 days instead of 300. Which is already a 19% faster siege. So that in total, with the increased walls breach chance, this trading policy literally makes your sieges more than 20% faster. Now some of you might say, yeah, but I need 50% trade power in that trade node to use it, so it is not worth it at all, right? Wrong. Because actually there is a tier 8 government reform which is called Embrace Free Trade that is available for every government type. And this reform literally entirely removes that requirement of 50% trade power. And I already did a video on how you can get infinite reform progress, but even without that you can easily get to tier 8 reforms by the 1520s as a republic or theocracy, or by the 1540s as a monarchy. So that in the end, from the early 1500s on, you can literally enact that trading policy in any trade node that you can reach, which by the way might give a slight use for trade range modifiers. And just by sending a merchant there in that trade node, you'll get 20% faster sieges on every siege. So for example, as I'm right now in a war against the Ottomans, I want to siege down those provinces over here in Ragusa faster, but I have of course 0 trade power over here. But you can see that I can just use a merchant over here, send him over there to Ragusa, and immediately, even though I have 0% influence, I can immediately set the trading policy to improve inland routes, and therefore every fort that I siege in that trade node right now has a 20% faster siege. And of course you can then send that merchant back at peacetime to other nodes for the trade income again. But 20% faster sieges are definitely worth an additional 2 mouse clicks of micromanagement. So this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we are going to see, as always, on the next Monday.